I'm Tim Eggers. Welcome to my shop. I've been doing woodwork now for pretty close to 40 years. Today I want to walk you through the entire process of taking this table from an idea to a finished product. One of the most common questions I get starts out with, can you? Well, for the most part, yes, I can. This one started out as, can you make this table if I send you a picture of it? So they did. They sent me this picture, and this entire table is based on nothing more than that little picture. Kind of a cool process, actually. They are building a brand new home, some friends of mine from church, and they wanted a bar top table. They wanted it to be 36 inches tall, and we decided on the dimensions, and then we simply copied what was in that picture in terms of the design. Pretty contemporary, no overhang over the aprons or anything like that, so it's all nice and solid and square. Started out with picking a couple different species of wood, and they wanted it to match some of the other cabinetry they have in their home, so we put a couple stain combinations together, and ultimately they landed on making it all out of solid 8-quarter maple, 2-inch thick pieces of maple. So I went over and saw my lumber supplier, picked up a bunch of maple, figured out roughly how much we were going to need, ended up being 109 board feet, and did the entirety of the process. Took all the rough sawed maple, ran it through and jointed all the faces, jointed an edge, run it through a planer to get the thickness that we wanted. That gave us assurance that all of our boards are going to be perfectly flat, straight bottom, straight edges and all this. Run it through the table saw to get the dimensions that we needed, and then started literally cutting stuff to length and gluing it up. The legs, as an example, are 3 3/4 inch square, and it's 2 pieces of maple glued together face to face to get the legs to the dimension that we need. The top is 6 pieces of maple that ended up being about 1.5 inches, 1 5/8 thick when we finally got them to the final dimension. Jointed all the edges, put biscuits in there to join them all together, glued them all up, got it nice and flat. Then we went to making the aprons to go around it, and those are, I think, 3.5 inches tall, and like I said, about 1.5 inches thick. So these things are real beefy. This table is genuine heavy. Joined all of the aprons to the legs with dominoes, and then put Craig screws into them to anchor them in place, and then actually took the corners and put a stringer across each corner and locked it into the legs as well. So everything is super stable and super durable. When it came time to attach the top, once we finally got it to the right dimensions and all, it's attached with screw blocks. So we showed in a video on how to make a screw block. So we're driving screws into the side of the aprons here and into the bottom of the top here. Real solid. Somewhere about in here, there are stringers that connect the 2 aprons together, and they act as a way to stabilize the aprons to keep those from moving, and as another attachment means to attach the top to it. So we got it all down. And one of the neat things is the aprons and the edge of the table are all in the same plane. There's no overhang at all. So I built it to where the tabletop was about 1/16 of an inch wider and longer than the base. And that way I had some flexibility in terms of attaching it. And when I got it all done, any overhang, I simply took an old-fashioned scraper plane and scraped those sides down to get them perfectly flush all the way along here. And then, of course, we sanded the whole thing, went through the process of 80, 120, and 180 grit. Didn't go beyond that because I wanted the stain to be able to have some place to go. If I had gone to 220 or 320, it would have burnished all the pores on the wood closed, and the stain wouldn't have penetrated near as well, so it wouldn't look quite so rich. We did a 2-part stain process. We did a antique oak as a base, and then went back over it with a darker maple color to get the color in there. Got that all down, and then we shot a clear lacquer over the top of it. Last thing we did after the lacquer all set up, and we sanded between coats, is we hit it with a little 3000 grit. So it is just smooth as silk, and a great table. It's going to be super heavy. I wouldn't be too surprised if this table weighed somewhere nearly probably 300 pounds, maybe 3¼ I'm really looking forward to picking it up and moving it out of here, but it'll get there and it'll get in place, and it'll be an heirloom piece of furniture that's going to last these people for the rest of their life. They'll end up one day passing it on to their young children. And this all came about from the people building a new home, and the lady Micah went to her mom, who's a friend of mine from church, and said, I want a new dining room table. What do you suggest? Fortunately for us, Lucille said, call Tim. So they did. And the question that they asked after we got through the introductions was, can you? And of course, the answer is yes. So we did the can you, and yes, we did. We made the table and all from just a little picture that was texted over to me on my phone. And we went from there. It's going to be delivered today. They are going to have their first adventure in dining on their 36-inch tall table today. Pretty cool process. So when you're into woodworking, when somebody says, can you, always say yes. You might not know how to do it that day, but by the time you get done with the project, you're going to know. And there's all kinds of resources out there. So access those. In particular, go to our page, which is Tim Eggers Highwheel Woodworks. Go there, and we've got 500 and some videos out at this point showing people how to do things like this. We taped the majority of the building of this table just to show you the entirety of the process, so you can look at all the details that went into making a beautiful piece of heirloom furniture.